delay of game.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Timm Metivier.
And welcome to our show,
Delay of Game.
Today we're taking a look at one of the oldest games that's still played with some degree of regularity. Came out in 1995, designed by Wolfgang Kramer and Richard Ulrich, and that is El Grande.
Yes.
Now, it's hard to believe at this point that El Grande won the Spiel des Jahres because it's a little heavier than most games that win that. But it's also a game that almost single-handedly brought a new genre to gaming, which is area majority. In El Grande, you are controlling factions in Spain and putting out your little cubes. They're called caballeros, but
Caballero.
I'm going to say cubes the rest of the time.
Okay.
And you're trying to control different areas of Spain. There's going to be different points in the game where there's scoring, and each area gives 6 points to the first place, 3 points to the second place, 1 point to third. It depends. They're different ones. And this sounds maybe a little, normal, but this was the first time that this had ever been introduced in board gaming, as far as I know. In each round, players are playing a card. You have a vast variety of cards you hand. All these cards have numbers. And that card that you play is going to give you a bunch of your cubes that you'll get from a big supply to put on the board. But also, whoever plays the highest number is going to pick from 5 action cards next to the board. And some of the action cards are amazing. They do powerful things. And some are weaker. But they also, each card gives you a special ability and allows you to put a certain number of these cubes on the board. Or you can throw them into a tower.
That's correct.
If you throw them into the tower, on certain rounds, you reveal all the cubes in that tower, and everyone secretly decides where those cubes go. There's not a lot more to the game. In fact, the rules of the game are like 5 or 6 pages. It's not very long. There's a couple expansions, which we'll talk about later. But, Tim, I just checked the calendar before we started this. It's 2021.
Yes.
This game is 26 years old.
It is.
This is the first year you've played it.
This is, yes, I'm embarrassed to say. Well, I guess I shouldn't be embarrassed. There's so many games out there, right? But, yes, this is the first year I played it. This really is. It is the first year I played it.
So what did you think about this game? I mean, let me ask you this. What was your impressions before you went into the game? I'm sure you've heard about this one.
Well, yes and no. I have heard it. I knew the name El Grande, but to be totally honest, I really didn't know anything about it at all. Just knew the name and knew it was constantly in like the top 100 of BGG. So that's all I really knew about it.
Well, when you got it out for the first time, what did you think? Because I don't think it's a real looker.
No. I mean, again, I'm that type of Euro guy, right? I don't necessarily need the good looks of a box or the art or anything. I just knew it was a good game, and I was excited to play it.
All right, so this is a straight-up area control.
Yes.
Or area majority, some people call it. But that's kind of only half the game. The other half is the playing of these cards. What did you think about that mechanism?
Okay, so first of all, one of the things that you left out, Tom, is yes, you do have this bank of 5 cards each round, and they change, except one that is constantly the same. Sure, and that's the one where you get to put out the 5 cubes, and you get to move the king. Because as you're placing out pieces, they must go in territories that are adjacent to where the king is. And it's phenomenal. So I've played it all player counts, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I learned it at 2, and it's not sort of a great game at 2.
I would highly not recommend it. I don't even think, does it say 2 on the box?
I don't even know. I just wanted to love it. Right?
All right.
So we just did. We had fun. It was good. It was a good learning game. We're both going back with the rule books and stuff like you do. I played with 3, and I was like, it's a little bit better. Played with 4, yeah. But, man, I got a chance to play with 5. And 5, to me, is El Grande is one of those games that needs to be played at 5. Because the first part of what you're doing, you have a little deck of 13 cards. And then what you're trying to do is you're trying to bid or place a card to see when your turn order comes. The higher number card you play, that lets you go. But you can only play each card once. And also, on each card you play, that lets you know how many more caballeros you're going to get from your province to put into your court. And the higher cards don't have any. But you look at the cards that are out there available to play, the 5 cards in the pool, and it's just fantastic, because a lot of times you can't just bid low and let fate dictate what card you're getting, right? Because you may get stuck with a card that really doesn't help you, and then there are other cards that are just fantastic. It's just, to me, it's such a well-designed game that I think the bidding, the choosing of the cards, and you're not even required to do anything on the cards once you take them. You don't have to place all of the caballeros on the card, and you don't have to take the special action either. So it really leaves a lot open for you to really decide your actions and your play. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's not a friendly game in many ways. I mean, because not only are you trying to control different areas on the board, but you are also moving people. There's this, that king, sticking him in a territory you're controlling just so no one else can put pieces there.
Yes.
Moving someone from one spot to another, making them, they were already controlling that spot. They don't care that you moved them there, but now you control that. I will slightly disagree with Tim. I think this game is equally as good with 3, 4, and 5. I think it's one of the games that scales really well. But that being said, I dislike most heavy Euro games with 5. I think they're too overwrought and too long, and 5 just sings. It is cutthroat. It is back and forth. You won't look at Spain the same way.
Right, and the reason that I'm going to sort of, I'll sort of counter your disagreement to me, and the reason I'll say with 3 is because, Tom, at 3, you can, as I said, let fate dictate, because you're like, when it comes to you at 3, there are still 3 cards left of the 5 to choose from. So it's not that much of a decision factor, because you're like, wow, I've got 3 cards to choose from. But if you go last with 5 people, you're going to get stuck with 1 card. You know what I mean?
Sure,
so
but
it does
I feel like they feel like different games to some degree. 5 is a much more in-your-face game, but I still thought 3 works. Even
sure.
And I like it. It's just not. It's a little bit kinder to that 3rd place, but still, it doesn't matter. I don't want card 3. I want card 1. Stop picking the card I want.
True. Then you need to bid it.
Yeah, but you can only use each card once, which is a good mechanism.
That is true.
Now, as a side note here, I'm assuming you have not played any of the expansion for this.
I have not, unfortunately.
Well, one of the expansions you can drop. It's not a big deal. But there's one called King and Intrigue, which comes in the El Grande big box. And this gives you this big deck of cards, and you can pick before the game, or draw, but pick, and you pick these cards, and they combine the action cards and priority cards. So you have this huge range of numbers, and you can play one, and it gives you the action. It basically puts everything on one card. So it's a different game, but it gives you a more asymmetric feel. And I like it. I don't want to play with it all the time, because the base game is a way that they show simplicity in, my word. I think Kramer's a master at this anyway.
Yes.
Kramer, and just taking a few mechanisms and making them feel like it's not hard to teach this game. It's really easy, actually.
Yes, it is. Yep.
But it feels really deep. And
it really does.
26 years later, it still holds up, and there's not a game I'd say, well, I'll play El Grande, but this game is better now. I can't think of a replacement game for it.
Yes, and when you say holds up, it's one of those kind of things that since I've played it, it really, like, I've been trying to tear it apart, right? Because another friend who I've learned it with, he just loves it as much as I do. I've been trying to rip it apart, tear it apart, say, nah, I don't like this. That's what we do, right? To try to really dissect a game. And I'm just like, man, it's perfect how he did those cards. It's perfect how he did this, the bidding, the placing, how you've got your court, and just everything about this game to me is just so well done. And to think that it was done 25 years ago, when people, that phrase, ahead of its time, I think if this game were made today, brought out just brand new today, it would still blow people's minds. It would be a fantastic game if it were just made today.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the case, if only because it started a whole genre, so it had that head start there. But The one you said that you can't think of anything bad about it. I was looking at my rating; it's a 9.5, so I'm pretty close to thinking this game's perfect. The only thing I could see people complaining about, it doesn't bother me, but throwing your units into the tower.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, when you throw your units into that tower, into the Castillo, you then reveal that and send them out to different places. I love that mechanism. I think it's fantastic. But some people can complain and say, why is there even a tower? I can memorize all the pieces that are thrown in.
Yes.
I can't memorize them, so I don't care.
Okay, but no, that's fine. You can memorize all the pieces. However, if you're trying to just win the Castillo, it's only 5 points. So if you're spending all of your mental energy trying to remember how many in there to score those 5 points, go ahead and do that. The main point of the Castillo, at least in my opinion, is once it's revealed, and then you go ahead and divvy up the points, you then get to take your dial and secretly place all of the units you put in there into a territory. That is the most important part of the Castillo, at least in my opinion.
I think it's the most gut-wrenching decision in the whole game. Because I'm sitting there looking at Tim and going, you're not going to that area. You better not be going to that area. You're not going there, right? Look, you're getting second place there. You don't need first.
Right.
You know?
But see, yeah, and it's just, that's why I just love it so much. Because again, like you said, sometimes you're not necessarily worried about winning those Castillo points. You just want to put your people in, so at that phase, you have this group of caballeros, an army, for lack of a better term, for the area control, that you're going to place in an area, a certain territory, that you may not have been able to reach before, right? Because once that comes out, there's no limitations as far as adjacency to the king. You can place them anywhere except in the king. So it's just fantastic. It really, really is.
And another thing it did, which I wish more area majority games would do, it has those little placards that you can move around and change the point values of different areas. That's such a fascinating little thing.
That is. And it actually comes as one of the options to do. And that it is how you can change the... Yeah. Again, I really have. My friends, we talk about it. Okay, what don't we like about this game? What will we change? It's like, it's so hard to find anything. It's just so well done.
But you said you don't care about that.
No,
I'm telling you, it looks terrible.
Oh, I think it's. I think it's kind of. What's that term?
If you use the word charming.
Okay, I'm going to say endearing. It's kind of
that's the same thing.
Yeah, I know, but it is. It works because it doesn't need to really have the art. And I don't mind just the cubes and everything's just a cube. I just enjoy it so much, so much.
All right, well, it's time for judgment here.
Okay.
So, how does the penalties work? Explain it to people who are watching this for the first time.
Okay, so the whole point of this delay of game was, since I've waited so long to play a game, and delay of game, and you figure the penalty, should I be penalized or not for waiting so long to play this game? And in this case, not only am I penalized, I think I need to be ejected. I think I need to be thrown out. I need to be given as many penalties as possible. Tom, I cannot say enough how fantastic this game is. And again, I just, we always are into the cult of the new, trying to play stuff, but wow, to know that I've missed this game for so many years, you know what I mean? That it's been there, available for me to play. Yes, if you think you like area control, if you want to maybe go back and try a game you've never had the opportunity to do and play that you may have heard of, please just take the opportunity and try this game. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's absolutely fantastic.
I am going to uphold that. I'm giving you a red card. No excuse. You should have played this game by now. It's amazing.
It is.
I know the red card doesn't fit. It's the other football,
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Fantastic game, folks. This is not one you should sit there and let go by. If you can find copies of this online for not too expensive a price. There's a lot of used copies and stuff. Hunt one down. Get it. Go to a convention. Play it there. It's at all the Dice Tower conventions because it's an amazing game.
It is, and please try the 3, 4, and 5 levels if you're able, right, with different people. Once we get out of this and all this kind of stuff, we can get together to see the differences, see what your particular sweet spot is, because everybody may have a different sweet spot, like we had talked about. And try, yeah, it's just so good. It really is.
Well, there you go, folks. That's Delay of Game. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Timm Metivier.
See you next time.